Hey everybody, this is Doing Lines. This is the sports betting podcast where we make up some fake bets and bet on kind of the sports of the sports, but not really the bets in the sports the way sports betting is used to for bettors of sports. I'm your host, Kyle Ayers, joined as always by my co-host, Austin Huff. And if this is your first time here, I don't know. Oh, Austin, if you can't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, if you're not watching us on YouTube, you won't notice Austin, since he's not involved in the podcast yet, is reading a book on the sidelines.
I don't. I'm just reading a book.
Until
right
he
now,
gets
dude.
involved, he'll be reading a book. If this is your first time here, what we do is we have guests come on. We give them $1,000 of fake cash, and they bet on some ridiculous bets you're not going to find at normal bookies, but measurable things involving pop culture, music, sports, all this meshed together for the NFL season. Austin, how you doing?
This book's pretty good. Not gonna lie. You guys should check it out sometime. It'll probably be the #1 bestseller on the New York Times list by the time where this clip gets done going viral. But yeah, now that I'm being included, I guess I'll play with put my happy face on. Even though am I still getting destroyed by you in the yearly
If we
totals?
go back, we'll recap our yearly totals here. Last week was the wild card weekend here, and we had Connor Wiley on, which was helpful for wild card weekend. That worked out great. We had some bets last week. Like I said, everyone gets $1,000 each week. We'll go here. We'll recap last week's real quick. Going through here, Connor, our guest last week, ended up making $150. So he ended up in the positive.
$150?
$150 after all was
Don't
said
spend
and
it
done.
all in one place, Connor.
Yeah, and you can't because everything costs more than that.
yeah. That's one egg.
Yeah. So he won $150 last week. Austin, I won $850 last week.
Oh, come on.
And Austin, you won $2,200 last week. The biggest week in the history of the podcast for Austin.
My.
Which brings our total to Kyle is at 11,390 and Austin is at 6,212. Austin, you're almost half the way there. You're over half the way there.
I picked up $220 or $2,200, and I'm still not even like within
just
like
only down by
5,000.
The biggest bets last week that hit.
You know what? I'm going back to reading.
This is a big bet. Was during the Manning cast how many EGOT awards individually will the guests have won? Well, their guests were Jared Allen and Bill Belichick, so the answer was 0.
Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about how much the Manning cast phoned it in on arguably
Austin,
one
do you
of the
think
biggest
any
weeks
of their
the year?
guests in a Los Angeles-based football game could have been preoccupied?
That's true. That is fair.
You think they might have maybe had any guests lined up? The bet was the guests they have on for the Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay Bucks games. Have they won any Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, or Tonys?
Mm-hmm.
And it's L.A. You figure they're going to get someone on. They love to have pop culture people on top of all sports guests. Well, every single week, Los Angeles.
Every single week of the season, they've had at least one actor or musician every single week. And this was the one week where it was just Jared Allen
I would
and
imagine.
Bill Belichick, who's a weekly guest. Like Bill Belichick does like every episode.
Yeah.
He's like the Matt Damon to their Jimmy Kimmel.
I mean, there's a decent chance Jason Sudeikis was preoccupied. There's a decent chance Adam Sandler had stuff to do. You know, there's just something going on in Los Angeles where a lot of people have rescheduled a lot of things. So I could see that being, probably the worst fallout from any of the fires is the fact that I lost $200 and fake money, and you gained $250 because you thought the fires would happen.
I was the one who started them.
Yeah, I think I saw you. Yeah. Austin is an anagram for Billy Joel, and so I think he was actually out here. If you remove everything from I am Billy Joel, it goes to Austin Huff, like the I am Voldemort.
If you play the bridge of that song backwards, it's just him saying it was Austin.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine a Titans fan wanting to burn it all down.
And well, there's a flame in our logo. So.
It's true. So that was a big one. That was a huge mix. But the biggest bet of the week, and this is the one I talk about, is what game can my girlfriend Bailey name the most players in? And the multiplier is if you guess the game, the multiplier is how many players she names from that game. Austin,
baby.
You bet $300 on Steelers Ravens, and she named 5 players, and that was her number 1.
Let's go. I knew it because Derrick Henry, Lamar. Can I try and guess who she guessed?
Sure.
Derrick, Lamar. I'm going to say Russell Wilson.
No.
No Russell Wilson. Wow. I thought that was like
Lamar,
a shoe-in.
Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers.
She knew Zafe. Wow,
Prob
Bailey,
I
good
would
job.
imagine from that Chiefs Ravens play last year. TJ Watt.
Okay.
And we got to
She was a
the
big fan of.
announcer Watt's brother. Well, he just played against the Chiefs, and I talked about him the whole time too.
Oh,
And
I thought she was. I thought she was a big fan of Ultimate Tag on Fox
number
back in the
5,
day.
Justin Tucker.
Oh, Justin Tucker, the kicker.
Well,
Wow.
once again, after a run-in with the Chiefs in specific and getting some
Yeah.
attention.
It
Um,
helps that they played in the AFC Championship game last year.
yeah. And so that was it. So that's a
Wow.
$1,500 net for you on that one.
Oh, that's
And
huge.
oh wait, I didn't subtract your $100 for the Rams because you also bet $100 on Rams Vikings. So Austin, you actually lose another.
No,
It's
damn it.
actually yeah, you lose another 100. So you're at 2,100 because I forgot to subtract. You bet on the Rams as well,
I knew it was
and
too good to
and
be true.
and 61-12.
Okay. I knew it was too good to
But
be
that's our
true.
big bet last week in the wild card. That was a huge win there. She had
Hmm.
4 players in the Bills Broncos, 4 players in the Texans Chargers, a few in the other ones. Commanders Bucks. Baker
Did
Mayfield
she
was the
know?
only
Did
one who
she
made
know
the cut.
any Broncos?
Yes. Bo Nix was actually the first player she named in that one.
Wow. Okay. See, I did not bet on that because I didn't think she would know
We
any
just played
Broncos.
in that game. The
Yeah.
Chiefs had just played the Broncos the week before, and
Okay.
she got 3.5 in that one between Bo Nix, Josh Allen, Amari Cooper, and Sean Payton. I gave her a half point because I always talk about how much I hate Sean
Okay.
Payton. Uh,
We need to get Bailey on the pod sometime. We should. She
yeah,
should be like the third
get in here for
co-host
the
on
Super
this.
Bowl. So there's where we landed there. Some other bets we had. Does Austin's Amazon package arrive before Amazon's kickoff? That was a yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that was close too because we got a lot of snow on Saturday during the
yeah,
day, and so I was like, "Will it arrive in time?" And I did get a package during the day, but it wasn't that package, and so I got real excited. I was like, "Oh
yeah,
wow, it definitely hit!" But it did end up hitting 4:30. I think was the time it came ahead of
yeah.
the 7 o'clock kick.
There was the road to the Super Bowl in New Orleans is where the Super Bowl is. Bars are open 24/7 there. Is any game 24/7 at any point? No. There was
We were
21 to
so
7,
close.
28 to 7, 23 to 6, and 27-9 across
That
all of the
23 to
games.
6 in the Rams
Or the
Vikings, I believe, right?
21-7 Buffalo game was 21-7 at one point. So we were
Gosh.
just hovering in that area. And then
And I think I just threw a couple of bucks at that one, hoping
you
it would
did.
hit.
The one I like last here was Fox Sports is having their situation going on with all of their situation. You had Foxy Sports 6 to 9 scoring plays, and there were 7. So we all hit on that one, and that was my big money maker. And it takes us to this week. I mean, divisional round honestly was pretty boring, or the wild card weekend was not wild
No, it
aside from
wasn't. And
one
it
game.
wasn't it wasn't super wild either, which I've noticed that
No,
the NFL's remained awfully silent
it was
on
duper
it being
boring.
super. It was. And like I said, I'm not a fan of like knowing that there's two teams sitting at home waiting, like just because like I want to see the best teams, right? That's what the
Yeah,
playoffs are all about. And now this weekend we're getting that. We're getting, I mean, on the AFC side, the 4 top seeds.
yeah.
So, that's
And on the
exciting.
NFC side, I would say the 2 best teams, the hottest team, and
Hmm.
then the cool story with the Commanders.
Yeah, yeah, and exciting teams on the NFC side because you've got all these playmakers. The Lions are just fun to watch
Yeah.
regardless, especially when they have games in Detroit,
Yeah.
which I don't think they had at all last year. Maybe one
They actually
in
didn't
Detroit
for
last year.
13 years have any games there even during the regular season.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed
Wait.
to. No, that's just how bad they were. I assume they
Oh,
didn't play in Detroit. Um
they just always had to play on the
yeah.
road. They're like, yeah, no,
Or
we're not even awarding you regular
it was
season
just
home games.
federal cruel and unusual punishment regulations kept them from playing their home games in front of their fans. It is
Oh,
I don't know if anyone has ever lost more money in 8 days than Sam Darnold. Just cost himself in eight
I feel
days. I think he
bad.
might have
I
lost
feel
$100 million.
Sam Darnold, man. That was a dude who you thought very well could have re-signed a deal with the Vikings,
Yeah.
based off of his play. And then the last 2 most important games of the year, I mean, and it's not like he played bad. He didn't play terrible on Monday night.
Yeah,
God,
but six the Lions game was really 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 jarring to watch him because
the
it literally came down to I'm in first and goal twice and didn't convert
yeah,
through fourth down.
yes. That was bad. And then the Lions game or the Vikings game against the Rams, the 9 sacks was bad. Like
Yeah.
there were sometimes like some of those sacks were on him and only him.
Oh, I think
And
7 of the sacks were over 2.5 seconds.
yeah, so it's like I feel bad because he had this like magical season, but it
Yeah.
literally was. It was Cinderella clock striking midnight, and he
Yeah.
had to run back home.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll hold on to the clock for 3 more seconds."
The clock struck midnight, and he still held on to the football.
He's
It's like, dude, no,
scrambling in the pocket, and
the football you're
yeah,
holding is now a pumpkin, and
yeah.
you're still holding it.
But this brings the divisional. I think is the best weekend of the year. You get 4 games. It's really
Yes.
really fun. Everyone's playing. There's no more like
In fact,
holding back this that.
I'll say this hot take: this is the last good weekend of football because the AFC Championship you only have 2 games,
I think the
and then after that
championship
you have
games are kind of fun, but that's a fun day. And I think that ultimately the Super Bowl is if your team is not in it, it is just kind of a weird day party. You're just like I can
yeah.
eat bad today and feel okay.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, you're like, what commercials we
The
got, you
commercials
know?
aren't even fun anymore because they all leak online.
I hate that. If I'm run for president, which I'm going to, I'm
Mhm.
that's going to be on my platform. Super Bowl commercials are not allowed to be leaked online ahead of time.
Yeah. It's really just a big like when we're here talking to Trey about Radio Row just being insane. That's kind of just I don't know. If your team isn't in it, and if your team is in it, you're just really not enjoying the game all that much because you're so stressed out. Um, yeah, I agree. This is the best NFL weekend of the year. I think.
Well, and if you're not a Chiefs or Patriots fan, like it's usually featuring a team that you hate, right? Like it's
Yeah,
like
you're rooting
so
against someone, which is such a weird
yeah.
way to spend your day, but ultimately you're
hmm
you're you're just kind of passively background watching a long thing, hoping to like the halftime show.
As a Titans fan, the only way I win is rooting against other things. That's it's not never rooting for my own thing.
And
But
unfortunately, it's yourselves you're rooting against a lot of the time.
yeah.
I do have to thank the
Uh,
Titans for giving us the first pick in the third round of the draft. And you just it
well, and if the Chiefs made the Super Bowl, the Titans got a little kickback on the DeAndre Hopkins trade, but DeAndre Hopkins had to play 50% of the snaps, and I think he was at like 48.
he
So
was at
I
like
like
48% before the last game.
yeah,
And
and
then he
so
sat the
I
entire game.
yeah, so I like there's not even the one thing we had to look forward to with the Chiefs making the Super Bowl still won't
I think that was
happen
a fifth
because
jumps up to a fourth or something like that.
yeah, it was something like that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's cool that now it's even less that we gave DeAndre Hopkins up for. It's awesome.
Yeah, but
Um,
are you rooting for him to win a Super Bowl?
no, not in the least bit. I've
I
always
guess
had this
I
take.
wouldn't really consider him a Titans
I'm not
lifer
rooting for.
anyways.
I'm not. You know me. I'm the number one Derrick Henry stan on planet Earth, and I'm not rooting for him to win the Super Bowl. Like especially because he's on the Ravens. The Titans hate the Ravens,
Sure.
um, and
If he was on the
so
Lions, would you root for him to win the Super Bowl?
maybe a little bit more. But I'm still like, if you're not a Tennessee Titan, I don't want you to win a Super Bowl. So it's like
Huh.
I don't like really.
So you don't
I
want
mean, I
anyone
guess
to
like
win.
I don't want anyone to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something to like I kind of it is such like a I mean, think about like as the Dodgers win and then win again. You're sort of
Yeah.
like you want to keep winning and winning, but ultimately if you don't, you're like, well, it'd be kind of fun if the Royals won, or it'd be kind of fun if like what I mean? You
Yeah.
can find ways to like care more about a
I'll
second
have like
team.
rooting interest in certain games. Like
Yeah.
if I don't have like money or anything like that riding on it, I will find like a rooting interest of some sort in the game. Like I think like it would be nice like if the Lions or the Bills finally got over the hump, but
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
not
I'm
like,
even so like content with what the Chiefs have done that I'm fine if they don't win, I'm fine with the Bills.
yeah,
And that's ultimately why I don't think there's really any other rivalries going on right now because people like the Bills hate the Chiefs, the Bengals hate the Chiefs, the Ravens hate the Chiefs. I'm like, it'd be cool if either of you guys won the Super Bowl
yeah,
because
yeah.
your fans are nice and
Well,
I hate the
and
Bengals owners so much.
the closest thing to a rival for the Chiefs right now, because obviously none in the division really are. I think the would be the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals haven't gotten the best of the Chiefs enough
Yeah, I
for it to
guess. I
be
mean, there
that much
certainly was that
like
time they said
lethal.
Burrowhead, and then they've lost every game to the Chiefs since they said that. And but I
Do you
like
think
the
that mayor
Bills.
did that mayor get reelected? Do you think
I think
he got,
he killed himself. I
he's like
ultimately I'm
is
like I
that
like the Bills, and because I remember what it was like to basically think the Chiefs and the Bills were the same team, where it was
yeah
like what keeps happening, and I remember what it's like for the Chiefs and the Vikings to feel like the same teams,
yeah
and I like Lamar Jackson so much. I'm rooting for him because I don't like that how much we like require Super Bowl rings to be a player's greatness narrative. I want everyone to have enough to where that doesn't come into play
well that's like Titans fans like hated Ryan Tannehill when he was with the Titans because well a lot of
because
it
of his
stemmed from
play.
the well no that's the thing he was a top three quarterback in the NFL when he was with the Titans and until he got hurt that final
Yeah.
season and like quarterback rating and everything. Like it was Allen, Mahomes, and Tannehill,
Mhm.
and this is not hyperbole or anything. Like he really was like really good, but it was the three interception game against the Bengals in the playoffs, and that people were like they basically drove him out of town. Now that the Titans have had worse quarterback play since Tannehill, people are really like, oh damn, we didn't know what we had till we lost it.
Sure.
Ryan Daniels the second best quarterback in Titans franchise history,
Yeah.
and
Right.
Stephen
That's like
and you
being the
can
best wide receiver in Chiefs history. You're like, there was Tyreek Hill for a few years, and then you just start talking about guys who run car businesses.
yeah right. It was like who else is gonna challenge him? Like it's like Steve McNair, Ryan Tannehill, and then
Yeah.
what? Kerry Collins, Vince Young,
Right. I
Jake
mean, yeah,
Locker,
the
Matt
Chiefs,
Hasselbeck.
you take like the 5 years of Tyreek with the Chiefs, and then you're like, well, there's Otis Taylor. When he got drafted, the Chiefs weren't even in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
And you
anyway,
start
here
to like
I
name, anyways,
we
it's funny how teams
if
sort of have their positions that like I associate running back with the Chiefs a great deal until this Mahomes situation where you're
yeah
like Charles into Johnson into Priest into Marcus Allen into Okoye is like such a wild run
yeah.
of running backs.
That's the same thing with the Titans is Derrick Henry to Chris Johnson. Well, no, Derrick Henry to DeMarco Murray. People forget how
Who had a
great he
couple
was.
yeah.
The Titans have 23,000-yard rushers in their franchise's history, and the next closest team has like 12, I think,
Yeah.
or 13.
It's pretty
You
wild to
know,
keep him yeah. Anyways,
if there was a doing lines drinking game, people would be drunk. They'd be taking a shot every time we bring up the Chiefs and the Titans. They would
well,
be
yeah,
absolutely
ultimately we
blitzed
need like
before we even get to our guest every week.
we do need to get the guest, and we have a really fun time. We got some a bunch of crazy bets here. $1,000 to our guest, who's like a legend of sports media,
Hmm.
and I was the same way you were. We were talking about this a little later. It was like, oh wow, we're actually doing this right now.
Yeah, it was a pinch myself moment, like midway through the podcast, where I was like, I can't believe we're doing this right now. This is a
Yeah,
icon of the industry.
yeah.
Should we just get to him?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, it's Trey Wingo. Let's go. Our guest this week is a guy that has probably been on my TV more than, I don't know, Billy Mays, any infomercial, anything. I don't know. Trey Wingo has been a mainstay from Sports Center to NFL Live. I used to wake up with this guy every single morning when I used to produce the Bernie Miklasz show in St. Louis when he hosted Golic and Wingo. Guys, follow him on Twitter at WingoZ and then at Trey.Wingo on Instagram. It's the legend himself, Mr. Trey Wingo. Trey, how are you?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's good to be with you guys. How are you?
Doing great. And now currently with DraftKings Network.
That is correct. We do a show called the Pregame Power Up, which gets you set for the primetime games Monday and Thursday night. We're doing shows all through the playoffs, and we'll be in New Orleans all week doing
my
shows
God.
as well. So we're looking forward to that.
How many radio rows have you done in your days?
Well, I think this is going to be, I was trying to count. The first Super Bowl I ever covered was when I was working in St. Louis, and I convinced them somehow that I should go to the Super Bowl. That was one of the greatest boondoggles of all time. I think my first one was 27. So we're coming up on 59. So, God, was it my 30s? That can't be right.
Wow.
Really? Let's just say 30 because I think I missed one or two.
Yeah.
So let's just say somewhere around 30 Super Bowls it'll be.
Okay.
30 radio rows, which is enough.
Hey.
Then nobody should have to suffer through that.
Yeah. Are you like kind of to the point where yeah, it is what it is.
Well,
Like,
I mean, Radio Row is just like it's like a feeding frenzy. It's like you're not allowed to chum for sharks anymore because it's bad for the sharks. That's the way Radio Row is. You walk by, it's like, hey, come here, hey, you come here, do this, doesn't that? It's just
right.
you're trying to just get out of there with some skin left on your bones more than anything else.
Does it feel somewhat like a high school reunion, only except you're meeting every single year? Like it's because it's everyone kind of getting back together.
Correct. Guys that I worked with for years at ESPN or somewhere else. It's like, oh, I know I'll see you at Radio Row. So, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I know I'm going to see you guys once a year, and this is going to be the week.
Yeah. Well, Trey, we want to thank you for taking the time to join us this week. We're very excited to have you on. Obviously, just an incredible football mind that you've got. It will do you no good in this podcast because it is the dumbest, most ridiculous podcast around.
Yeah, if there's some sort of like opposite of Radio Row, like they're where you
No. Radio Row is ridiculous, so that means you guys are actually going to be great.
Yeah, okay. We might fit right
by
in.
definition, Radio Row is a horrific. It's if the Titanic met some other horrible disaster, that would be Radio Row.
While the band was going down in the Titanic, they wanted just a quick soundbite from one of the guys jumping in a lifeboat.
What's your take on Mike Tomlin before you drown?
Yeah. But before we get to that, you're here with Duracell batteries, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm here for Colace. When you're having surgery and you need to make sure that thing is clean, this is what you take,
I would love sponsored posts from the band on the Titanic as it went. Real quick.
Yeah, we're here with M&Ms. No, that's Radio Row. This is essentially like Skid Row is what this would be. That'd be a better.
Again, an upgrade.
More parking, I would imagine.
So Trey, we're going to give you $1,000 of fake cash to bet among 6 bets, and you can bet that however you want. However, we don't need the fake cash for our own, right? So we will instead donate the winnings of that fake cash to a fake charity. So is there a fake cause that you will be playing for this week?
Yes, there is. I've given a lot of thought about this, and given the locale of you specifically, I think I've decided to play for the SCFTB fund, which is Save Caleb from the Bears. So he can actually have a career. So we're going to try and raise as much money as we can to get Caleb out of the morass that has been the quarterback situation in Chicago since Sid Luckman in the 1940s. So we're hopeful that we can raise enough money that Caleb can get away from that organization and find steady ground somewhere in the NFL.
So the only way for him to throw for 4,000 yards in a season is for him to play for a different
franchise. Be a Chicago Bear.
I'm doing the math and I'm thinking like for the amount of Super Bowls you went to, I bet your first ever Super Bowl, you were like, the Bears really have a future at quarterback with this Jim McMahon. I think the Bears might be a quarterback driven team.
They had a few. They had the few punky QB years, and a couple of years where Harbaugh looked like he was okay, and then it's just one Tom Zach and Vince Evans after another. It's the best. Jim Miller's in there a few years. Let's throw them all in there.
Yeah. What's wild is they went to the Super Bowl since the '85 Super Bowl, and even that was with
Rex Grossman, baby.
Yeah.
The whole year, this was Lovie Smith. We're 10-2. Rex is our quarterback. It's like he was trying to convince the media. He was trying to convince himself that they could win. If Jim McMahon was the punky QB, Rex would have been the pudgy QB for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 looked very round on Rex Grossman. That number was very round on Rex.
Rex Grossman sounds like a meal at a Guy Fieri restaurant, is what it sounds like.
Did you get or a review. How was that Rex? Gross, man.
That Bears team was the closest you could come to winning a Super Bowl with a kick returner, and that was it.
Yeah, seriously. Their best quarterback was Devin Hester.
Oh, I mean, I'll never forget watching that game with the Bears. My Chicago roommate, Bears fan, when they ran the kickback, and I said out loud, "Oh, this happened in the national championship game." And then also flipped, and I think that's Ohio State ran it back and lost to Florida that year.
Absolutely.
And then an exact same, and he sort of looked over at me like, well, that's not going to happen here. It's like, it might play out the exact same way. The exact same way.
Yeah.
Well, this is
What?
oddly like our most common charity item is trying
Yeah. It's
is
trying to
fixing
save
the Bears
Caleb
or the
Williams,
Bears in
really.
some way. I think we've spent more fake money on this than the Bengals have spent real money on their front office. So it feels pretty good.
Or on Jamar Chase. So,
Yeah.
and that's a wonderful
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah, it is for me. Well, we have 3 bets each, 6 total.
okay.
We'll lay them
Okay.
all out, and then after we lay out all 6, let us know which ones you like and how much you want to put where. We just ask
Okay.
that you lock one in. That'll be double the winnings. You're allowed to do parlays. We're not sure what that is, but you're
Sure.
allowed
Yeah.
to do it. If you want to make one
Yeah.
up, and if it hit, only one has ever hit that someone made, so I just had to ask my brother what that meant. I got a few here. I got some bets. It's the divisional round. I think this might be the best weekend of NFL football of the year.
It is.
Divisional round. You got a bunch of games. You got 4 games,
Yeah.
8 teams. Same
Nobody's
4 teams as the AFC.
Bye. Yeah.
3 new teams in the NFC. I got some bets. First bet: who wins by more? Total points. People mascots or animal mascots?
I'm trying to think of the people mascots. We have
the Chiefs
Commanders.
Texans, which are 2
We have the
people
Chiefs.
mascots. We have
Kind
the
of.
Commanders.
Texans. A Texan would be offended if you called them a person. They're not a person, damn it. They're a Texan. Okay. I went to school. I went to school in Texas. I have family in Texas.
Baylor Bear. Yeah.
Yeah. How dare you call me a person? I'm
That's
a Texan.
true. That would imply
God
that they
damn it.
could think about other people.
Yeah,
and then-
that's so. I'm gonna say that's a separate category. So
And,
now we have to do,
and then
we
we
do
have-
have to do
yeah.
people mascots, animal mascots, and Texans.
And
Texans,
Texas
right,
mascots.
right.
That's
they
that is
prefer
a
that.
phenomenal take. Yeah, that is a great
if
take.
the game
honestly.
goes how I hope, we
absolutely
won't even
prefer
have
that.
to think about that. But we got the Bills as a
Yeah.
people mascot as well, and then you got Rams, Eagles, Ravens, Lions as the animal.
See, now this is
mascots.
interesting. Now I think there's some controversy there. Why are
There
the
is.
Bills a people mascot
Because
when their
they are
logo is a
actually
buffalo?
named after the Buffalo Bill is who
Yeah.
their team is named. This has come up on here before, is into the Bills Bill, and I think I've played it both ways. However, it works out for the bet.
I was about to say this is somewhat of a malleable point. I think. That
Yeah,
you
I think
can
the Bills'
shape any way
actual
you
mascot
need.
is a teenager digging a player's car out of the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or someone jumping on a table while being covered with ketchup and mustard.
I would say,
Yeah.
which is that could qualify as person or animal, depending
Yeah.
on how far into the tail.
We'll go with person because
We'll go
that's
just
the way
for
you
the bet.
scouted it.
Vegas says person, so we have to go that. My next bet is this one's a pretty simple one. Is there another Eagles fan that goes so viral I find out his name?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm hammering the over there. Okay?
So for this week,
Just remember, the old vet had a jail and a courtroom in it.
Right.
Literally, they knew that these guys were so abhorrent and obnoxious and awful that there were going to be arrests and trials
Yeah.
during football games.
right?
Okay.
It's definitely one thing to have the jail, but to have the courtroom because you know
The judge is there ready to
Yeah.
sentence you.
the lawyer's probably at the game.
Yeah.
So that's my second one. And then this one actually has a caveat where if the Eagles fan who goes viral is in a Kelly Green jersey, your bet flips because those are sweet jerseys. So if
They
you-
are.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's a
if-
good point.
So if
That's fair. I'll
that
allow
bet
it.
flips
I'll allow
there.
that. I like
And
that.
then my next bet, I'm from Kansas City, born and raised Kansas City. Last time the Chiefs played the Texans in the playoffs was a wonderful day for me after going down 24-0.
51 to 31.
51-31.
Mhm.
24-0.
Nothing says a playoff game than being outscored 24 to nothing and then being outscored 51 to 7.
51-7. 51 to
Which is
7
just
once
an insane
I believe
thing.
It
I
was.
at one point Daniel Sorensen was tackling Justin Reed of all people on a fake
Correct.
punt.
On a fake
And
punt.
I was deleting a tweet that said "Same old Chiefs."
Here's my favorite
The
thing about
cover.
that game. My favorite thing about that game is they had the lead at the half. They were
28-24 at
24
halftime.
Yeah.
nothing. They took the lead at halftime.
28-24. Truly,
I
if
think
you
they
just
scored
missed-
on 8 straight possessions.
it
in that
was
game.
wild. And the
Yeah.
fake going for the fake punt, Daniel Sorensen for that's legendary plays on both sides.
I agree. And Justin Reed is happy to be on the other side of the equation now.
I think this is the
Yeah.
time every year when the Chiefs play the Texans, which they didn't play him last year, but when the Chiefs play the Texans, Justin Reed just gets tagged in a bunch of videos for the wrong reason and has to.
Correct.
You know what team I'm on now, actually.
Yeah, right, guys.
Catches a stray there.
So this game, 24-0, 51-31. Like, just a forgotten most insane game because of the amount of weird Mahomes playoff things that have happened, including being down
Yeah.
10 more and more the rest. At any point in this game, is there a double-digit comeback or a double-digit win?
Is that we betting? Or we
Chiefs
asking just a
Texans.
question here?
This is the bet. This is just
Okay.
simply a yes or no. Does either team come back from down double digits or win by double digits?
I think, well, I think you're more likely to have one team win by double digits than
So
this
this
one.
one's just a straight, yeah, this is a yes or no. Like either of those
Yeah.
things happen or neither of them do.
Yeah.
And then I have my
Okay.
caveat for all of the bets today. As a Chiefs fan, this is the Chiefs Media Circus multiplier bonus. If you can
Yes.
correctly predict the amount of times they show Taylor Swift in the box during the game, you'll get a double multiplier to your bets. So this is really a
Love
no
that.
loss. You just give a guess. If you give me the
Also
right
hammer the
number,
over.
just pick any number, whatever you want there, and you get a double multiplier.
Got it.
Okay.
Usually it hovers. It's gone down, but now
So
it's
you can't necessarily lose money. You can only really gain
that's
money
just
on
throw me a number, and if it hits, you get a multiplier. That's our sign
Got
up.
it.
Our sign up bonus
Yeah.
for first time betters.
that. Sign up bonus. Yeah. Go to DraftKings right there and check
Yeah.
out Trey. All right. My three bets. My first one is I don't know if you guys caught this after the Ravens game on Saturday, but Lamar Jackson was quoted talking about Derrick Henry saying, when Lightning McQueen is just flashing
Correct.
past, and it's like whoosh, whoosh. That's how Derrick looked. He was running past, and all those guys just, uh, and, uh, and all those guys just, it looked like a movie, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be watching it, then being on the opposite side of the ball. I know that. He does make a great point. Derrick Henry is a lot like Lightning McQueen in the sense that there are a lot of similarities there. Derrick, of course, has the Heisman Trophy. Lightning McQueen has the Piston Cup, as we all know. The Lightning McQueen is, of course, he's not the driver of the 95 car. He actually is the 95 car. So this one's pretty simple. This week, does Derrick Henry surpass 95 yards rushing? I looked up the actual over-under, and it is set at 97.5. So it's a pretty close line. So I'm going to set the line here, 94.5. Does Derrick Henry, is he actually Lightning McQueen? Does he surpass that 95 rushing yards limit?
I think if he does, the Ravens are in pretty good shape. What did he have? I think he had 6 million against the Bills.
Yeah.
In the regular season game they played in that Sunday night
Yeah.
contest.
Yeah.
Give or take, 500,000 yards. I think it was about right around 6 million in that game. So
No,
I
you're
would
right
absolutely hammer the over there. I would hammer
Yeah.
the over on that one.
Okay. And then my next bet is called Can You Take Me Higher? Does an
What was-
NFL
Wait, was Scott Stapp showing up? What's happening here?
Come on out, Scott. Let's go.
Whoa, this is crazy. Still the greatest halftime show of all time when
Yep.
Creed did that at the Thanksgiving Day game at Old Texas Stadium.
Right. It's funny that in like 25 years time, we'll still be talking about that halftime show over whatever, like the Beyonce one that we got
Well,
on
that's just
Netflix
because
on
the
Christmas
Cowboys
Day.
won't be playing at any other games that have halftime shows outside of Thanksgiving.
Correct.
That's true.
That is an actual statement.
So this bet is pretty simple. Does an NFL team make a head coach hire before the end of Sunday's final game? Obviously, there are some stipulations on this, but the Patriots kind of got the ball rolling last weekend when they hired Mike Vrabel on Sunday morning. So does an NFL team just hire a head coach before the end of the games this week? However, if Creed Humphrey, the center for the Chiefs, gets a penalty of any kind, the bet is flipped. So if you're winning the bet, you will then be losing the bet, or if you're losing the bet, you then win the bet.
And he has, we looked this up, one penalty this year.
I was about to say, Creed has also not given up a sack this year. I
Yeah.
don't believe.
Yeah.
Trey Smith also did not give up a sack for the. It's amazing to me when you look at the Chiefs' offensive line how incredible their three interior guys are when
Yeah.
Tooney was playing left guard, and now because of all the issues with Wanye Morris and Kingsley Sua, I need a consonant in my last name somewhere. They are like they've. I don't think people understand how hard it is what Joe Tooney has done. Normally, left guard is where tackles go to die. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't play tackle anymore, so we're going to move you inside.
Yeah.
Tooney's like, F it. I'm good. Move me outside. I'll become a tackle and be one of the best tackles out there and not give up a sack when you're playing in 3 straight games TJ Watt led Pittsburgh Steelers, the Myles Garrett led Cleveland Browns, and both the rush ends for the Houston Texans. In all three of those games, they did not give up a sack facing those three rush.
And we just saw what the
attempts.
Texans pass rush can do. We just saw
Yes,
that in a playoff
exactly.
game the other day. They just completely wrecked a.
Now, granted, it was the Chargers who continued to make chargering a thing, but that's a separate issue entirely.
Yeah, well, I live in LA, and we're really trying to get back to normal with everything with the fires, and the Chargers really accelerated that by playing the most normal Chargers game you've ever seen in your life.
And I love the way you use the word accelerate. That was a nice little,
well,
nice
they were trying
verbiage.
We're trying to contain Justin Herbert, and instead they accelerated him. That's all my notifications on my phone tell me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think if you average out the Chiefs' offensive line, they look normal, but you don't realize it's all outliers.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's like, oh, great. What is happening? What is happening for two different guys and a guy who wasn't even on a team last year?
See, and I'm a Titans fan, so I didn't even know that the men up front were allowed to block the guys that were coming towards the quarterback. So that's this is all new to me.
Well, the Titans once had 9 sacks in a playoff game and found a way to lose, which was I thought was remarkable.
I remember. I certainly remember that
Joey
one.
B.
Mm-hmm. That was the 1 seed year. The Titans were the 1 seed. People forget. Which honestly, you should remember the Titans. My bet is actually has something to do with the Titans. My final bet. As I stated, I am unfortunately a Tennessee Titans fan, and it's obviously been very rough sledding over the last 2.5 years. Not only did we have a 3-14 season this past year, but our division rival is now, in the divisional round of the playoffs against the Chiefs. And Nashville is, of course, the country music capital of the world. So I feel like I'm going to base this bet off of the George Strait song, All of My Exes Live in Texas. Only this bet.
That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee, my man. Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. And except this bet is called All of My Exes versus Texas. Among my Titans X's in action this weekend, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown. Do they have more touchdowns combined than the entire Houston Texans team? So Hopkins, Henry, and Brown versus just the Houston Texans.
Man, could you imagine having those guys on your team? That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
it's like they were good or something.
Man.
The funny thing about being a Titans fan is that's where wide receivers go to die. Okay.
Yeah, normally. And then you get DeAndre Hopkins and you let him walk.
Yeah, I mean DeAndre has played great, but every great wide receiver that ended up there. People forget Randy Moss was a Tennessee Titan. Okay,
Andre Johnson.
Yeah, was a freaking Tennessee Titans. They get the receivers when they have nothing left on the bone, unless they draft an A.J. Brown and give him up. Because they want to draft the kid out of Arkansas a few years ago that has not worked
Traylon
out.
Burks.
And Traylon Burks, yes.
Yeah, he just got hurt 3 times in the middle of you saying that sentence.
There's like a picture of every great wide receiver ever in a Titans uniform that looks like that Patrick Ewing in a Seattle Supersonics uniform.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Photoshop this to look like this. Yeah, no.
Or Shaq as a Celtic. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
Jaunting up and down the court.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas as a Miami Dolphin. It doesn't make any sense.
Chiefs great.
Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, and I will hammer the over on all your X's doing better than the Texans because that means that at a minimum we'd have to have potentially the Texans score 21 points against that Chiefs defense, which I don't see happening in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Okay. Then we also forget Julio Jones. If you want to go way back,
Julio Jones. Yes, absolutely.
What about
just every Hall of Famer who was 6'7"? That's just the easiest way to put it with other teams. Anyone tall on a different team?
Eric Moulds. Shout out to all my Buffalo Bills fans. Eric Moulds. And
Calvin Johnson retired instead of just playing for Tennessee for 1 year.
Yeah.
Which he's signed
I think he signed a 1-day contract.
Just so he can retire a Titan.
Just so he can retire a Tennessee Titan.
And then the throwback, the one that I love, Carl Pickens.
Yeah.
Carl Pickens.
Yeah. All those great years with the Bengals.
Yancey Thigpen kind of got that ball rolling too, way back in the day. But
That's a great name from the 90s Steelers. Nice
right. He had some good years as the Titans, so I
did.
don't like to lump him in with the others. But okay, all right. So we've got 6 bets. You got $1,000 to split up however you'd like. You kind of ran through them, but if you want us to kind of run back through,
No.
you don't have to bet on all 6. We just ask that you bet on
Mhm.
at least 2.
Mhm.
Well, okay. So what you want to do is you want to make money for my fake charity to save Caleb, right? I want to
Yeah,
make
of
fake money
course.
for my fake charity.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the surest bet on the board is I'm betting against an obnoxious Eagles fan. And if I have 1,000 fake
Yes.
dollars, I'm putting 850 on another
Wow.
Eagles fan to go viral. I mean, I think
Okay.
like that. You guys, that's a layup. That's like,
Yeah.
that's like when they give you that teaser bet. Hey, will anyone hit a 3-pointer in this NBA game
Right.
at any time?
see those ads, it's like-
Congratulations, you've won. Now come do this some more with us.
Yeah. Over under Lamar Jackson 0.5 passing yards. Welcome.
Exactly.
Thank you for your Gmail.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Will there be a handoff in this game?
This bet is essentially, is there an Eagles game and the internet this week?
Right.
Yes, and
But
I am
now-
betting on both of those things.
However, if that Eagles fan goes viral in a Kelly Green jersey, though, does the bet flips, Kyle? Right? Is that
It does, but I feel it does. But and I'll say my thought behind this is most of the go viral for the wrong reason Eagles fans have been fans long before these rebooted Kelly Greens that have been out the last
Correct.
2 or 3 years. Most of the
Yeah.
ones you see of these are Jason Kelsey jerseys, and
Yeah.
most of the ones people you see getting into these things are in like a tattered jersey of the guy Mark Wahlberg played in Miracle.
Yes, Vince. What was his Vinny? I was just trying to think of his name.
Vince Papali.
Vince Papali. Vince Papali.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the big,
absolutely.
yeah, no, my cousin knew him.
Yeah, exactly. He used to take a trash.
Okay, so $850 on the Eagles fan going viral with the Kelly Green jersey caveat. Now, and then now you've got $150. So wherever you want to go with it.
I'm going 100 for sure on the Lamar, DeAndre, and not Lamar, DeAndre, Derek, and who was the third one?
AJ Brown.
AJ
Yeah,
Brown,
the most
absolutely.
painful one.
Although
Yeah.
that one's tough because AJ Brown may have to put down the book. He may have to actually concentrate.
Right.
Like
He's got to stop reading.
he only got the thing about this. Is the thing that drives me crazy about AJ Brown. You are winning. The team is good. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're out there. Let's be honest. He's reading the book because he's ticked off.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not reading it. He's not trying to better himself.
No.
He's trying to show everybody how pissed off he is. He only had one catch for 10 yards.
Even LeBron James was like, "That's some performative book reading."
Exactly. So, I do think because of that, they're going to try and force feed him a catch. Now they're going to have to score a little more because I think the Rams can put some numbers up.
Yeah.
By the way, how great is it that it's Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua? I would really, if it was Cooper Nacua and Puka Kupp, I think that would be better.
Oh, I love a good Puka Cup. That sounds awesome.
That sounds like a Ben and Jerry's flavor too,
Oh,
right?
Puka Cup?
A little Puka Cup. Can I get?
I was gonna say
It's got a
sprinkles?
pineapple ring in the middle that the ice cream goes down.
Exactly.
A Puka Cup is what you order at like the swim up bar at like an all inclusive resort.
They always come with an umbrella. They're wonderful.
I love that. Okay, so $100 on Hopkins,
Yeah.
Henry, and Brown to outscore the Texans, right?
Yeah, and then I got $50 left.
$50
to spend.
left.
So let's go over. Let's see. The other ones were a coach being hired.
A coach being
before
hired.
the end of the games of the weekend.
Henry 94.5 rushing yards.
I got to go Henry 94.5. That's where the other one's got. I want to make some money for Caleb, so we got to make sure we're taking the surest things here on the board.
Okay, all right. As a fan of Derrick Henry, obviously for years and years, he will do one of two things. He either rushes for over 150 in a playoff game, or he rushes for sub 60. It's one or the other. There's no in between there. So
And you know this.
Yeah.
You know this as well as anybody, because the thing that is so maddening about Derek, he's a guy that needs inertia, right? Like if you get him at the line of scrimmage, normally you're good, okay? But if you let him get a yard or a yard and a half past the line of scrimmage, you're toast. Like I've never seen a big back like him, that just can't like hit the hole right away. It's not how he does it. He's like Fred Flintstone. He needs to get the running start for the car, just to get him going. And once he's going, he's impossible. But it is interesting. You think like a guy like that would just wham into the hole, and that's just not the way he does it.
Well, and what's funny from a grander scope, he's like that in a season as well. Like if you look at his week one rushing numbers versus we used to celebrate what we call D Henber because in December he would always pop up for 200 yards a game. And it's like that in that's why it's like if they get a bye week like the Titans had in that year with the 9 sacks against the, we don't have to bring it up again. But Derek was coming off of the foot injury in that game, and he was healthy for that week 18 game, but they sat him out. If they would have, I think, played him in that week 18 game, I think that would have helped his final rushing totals against the Bengals in the divisional round, but he ended up only rushing for, I think, 48 yards or something like that. And, the rest is history. You get 9 sacks and then you get knocked out by the Bengals.
Well, that was and Kyle, you remember this, after they beat the Texans, they played the Titans in the AFC Championship game, and they were down 10 twice in that contest, but Derek was never really a factor in that game.
No,
and that's when the Chiefs defense that's when the Chiefs defense wasn't good. Okay, they're good now. That was when they were not good.
That was their best game. Like that was the good game.
It was
just because Frank Clark. They're just up for it. That was a big Frank Clark game. Everyone was like, "What? They paid so much for him. They traded so much for him," and he's just like, "No, one guy talked trash, so I'm good again."
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, that's what. And the 2 games prior, Derek had over 150 against the Patriots, and then over close to 200 against the Ravens in the divisional round. So
absolutely killed. And by the way, Kyle, congratulations on the 3-peat because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I will feel great.
It's a fait accompli. Like I've been trying to tell people, I've never seen people try and twist their brains into a knot mentally about why the Chiefs shouldn't or won't be doing this. I'm like, you need to understand, okay? They've spent this entire season just wanting to get to this point. They do not care about style points. Oh, we had a low point differential. Oh boy. I mean, what other team is going to lose their top 2 wide receivers and their number 1 running back and win 15 out of the 16 games they were trying to win? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And then they go with their full complement finally on Christmas Day. They have Hollywood, they have DeAndre, they have Juju, they have Worthy, they have Hunt, they have Pacheco, they have Gray, they have Kelsey. And they go and stomp a team by 19 points on their home turf to wrap up home field advantage. People do not understand. The Chiefs that you saw all season, that's not the team that's showing up on Saturday. There's a whole nother level of whoop ass that's going to be about to be exploded on the Houston Texans on Saturday.
I used to always hear these stories about how Tony Gwynn would take a strike in a moment that didn't matter just to get that strike later in a moment that mattered. And it feels a little bit like how Andy Reid coaches sometimes.
Look, listen, there's a great
tape.
story about Greg Maddux, and he had his personal catcher, Eddie Lopez, right? And they were playing against the Astros in a game that they were winning 5-0. And the whole thing, they were going to pitch him away. And then Greg says, I want to throw one inside. And so he throws one inside, and Bagwell just hammers it over the right field wall for a home run. And Eddie Lopez said, why did you do that? Because we're going to see this team again in the playoffs, and he's going to be looking for that pitch, and I'm not going to give it to him. And so the whole thing was to set up a pitch that he wasn't going to throw to him in the postseason when they met him. And Lopez was like, this guy is out of his mind. Like, I hadn't even thought about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And in the way that Andy does that, it feels like Spags does it just to an nth degree with defenses. Yeah. Where it's just like, we play a vanilla defense against Josh Allen, lose a regular season game. I feel good about it. This weekend I'm excited about the game.
And then the other thing, and we'll get off this real quick. Like, you guys have another advantage here because you play Saturday, the first game on Saturday. Yeah. The Bills-Ravens game is Sunday night, which means you guys get an extra day and a half of rest before you host the AFC Championship game. And oh, by the way, if the Chiefs shit the bed and the Texans win, we'll delete all of this. But I just I don't, right. I don't see it happening. No, I'm sorry.
No, Trey, I'm glad you said it because I've been congratulating him on the 3-peat since week 1. So it's ever since that toe went out of bounds on the week 1 of Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. I was like,
Can I read you my favorite Patrick Mahomes stat of all time?
You can. I mean, I might have it already. If you want to read all the tattoos I have, then yeah.
No. This one, I don't think this is when people say, why are you so all in on this guy? Well, first of all, they had one touchdown drive in the Super Bowl last year against the Niners, and it wasn't overtime when they needed a touchdown to win the game. The other one was a muff punt, and he hit MVS, who amazingly caught the ball for a touchdown there.
Is that not the whole team put together? MVS in the playoffs looked like Calvin Johnson last year.
It's unbelievable. This team becomes 22 Mariano Rivera's when the playoffs begin.
People don't, Super Bowl record holder Kadarius Toney.
Exactly, longest punt return in the history, and now he can't catch a pass and can't catch on with the team.
He can't make the Browns.
This is my favorite. It's from Neil Payne, who wrote this on Substack, and I had it verified, so this is true. Since 2001, there have been 125 drives in the NFL postseason where it was at least the fourth quarter, there was under a minute left to play, and the team on offense trailed by 7 or fewer at the start of the drive. These are your standard clutch moments for a football team, the do-or-die drives that win or lose critical games. Out of all those 125 drives, only 40% of them saw the team on offense pull off the magic trick and get the points they needed to either win the game or extend the game and put it in overtime. Some quarterbacks are pretty good at it, such as Tom Brady, who went 5 for 11, 46%, or Drew Brees, who went 3 for 6, 50%. Only Patrick Mahomes, though, is perfect. 7 for 7.
Oh my gosh!
Oh
my gosh, that is insane.
So if you give him the ball, with a game, you are going to lose. You are going to lose. It is a certainty, like the sun rising in the east. If you give this dude a chance to win the game in the postseason, he's taking it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I mean it's like their 1-score games in a row they've won. And people are like, what an outlier. And I'm like, I think that's just their statistic. It's not an outlier when you hit 330 for your whole life and hit 330.
Yeah, it's like he was doing one of those matches, and it was back and forth, and he was mic'd up in a summer ridiculous golf tournament. And he was talking. He said, "Ernie, we're going to keep it close. This is what This is what I do. I don't do blowouts.
He said he's a good TV guy. I got to make good TV for everybody.
This is going to make good TV. This is who he is.
Ernie. We're actually going to keep this one pretty close. If that's okay.
Yeah, was he talking to Ernie Johnson or Ernie?
Ernie Johnson or Bert and Ernie, from Sesame Street with Kermit the Frog. But the other one too, which is the greatest, and I'm sure Kyle, you know this one. They went 11-6 last season. It was their worst season. And before the final game against the Chargers that they won to go 11-6, he sent a group text to his family and said, "I decided we're going to win the Super Bowl. Not that we can get to the Super Bowl. I think we can do it. We have a chance. I decided." And what did he do in overtime? He decided. Go watch that final drive again, if you can stomach it, if you're not a Chiefs fan. It was just like, no, I'm doing this. There's not a damn thing you can do to stop me.
We were just talking before the recording about if who could lead the quarterbacks in rushing. And then Austin's like, well, or just Mahomes because it's the playoffs. And we're like, it depends on how many 3rd and 11s they have. If they have 3rd and 11 8 times, he'll have 96 rushing yards.
He's only faster than the guy chasing him. That's his speed. That's his 40 time. Is whoever
the guy chasing him is the ghost of Tom Brady, so it's not a fast ghost.
Tom Brady runs like a baby giraffe learning to walk. Let's be clear.
I will say this last thing on Mahomes
too.
Yeah. Last thing on Mahomes, we say all this, but he's now a father of 3. You guys, so we don't know. That could change things.
This is a man who planned his third child around the bye week he expected to have in the playoffs. Not even an off season or the bye week of your planned bye. The bye week he expected to have.
And what are their names? Like gold, frankincense, and myrrh?
It's gold, silver, and bronze.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
Imagine knowing where you fall in the ranking.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Who's your favorite kid? Well, we named them after a podium.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Hey, third place is still great. Third place is still great.
We do have to get the last thing bet-wise is just throw us a number of times you think they cut to Taylor Swift. There's no way to lose this bet. It's only a possible multiplier.
Okay, well, listen, I think Kelsey's going to have a big game, so you're going to see a lot of her. I'm going to say 11.
Oh, 11. Okay.
11. All right. There's the mandatory walking into the stadium shot, of course, and all this kind of stuff. But I think we're seeing 11 cutaways from Taylor. And if NFL fans are butthurt by that, boo-hoo, get over it.
Yeah, you got to keep the Swifties numbers up.
Well,
you got to keep the viewership up.
What else are you going to cut to? A fan calling a woman the C word?
Yeah, exactly. That's in a different stadium.
That's the face of the
Kelsey,
guy that
Kelsey.
is upset at Taylor Swift. Well,
Sure,
Trey, before we let you go,
There's never been any Chiefs fans who've been in the news for bad reasons.
No, just arson and robbery. I mean, other than that, it's fine.
other than that, Mrs. Lincoln,
Thank you so
Trey,
much for being here.
Trey, before we let you go, is there anyone you would like to challenge on this podcast? Anyone that
Who do you think you're better at fake betting then?
Yeah, the amount that you earn for the Save Caleb Williams in the Save Caleb from the Bears. Yes,
Save Caleb from the Bears. Yeah, SCFTB.
Anyone you think that your total would be able to surpass someone on this podcast?
Well, I don't know. What are the numbers? Like, what are we? What am I looking at?
Well, basically, however much you earn this week with your fake bets. Is there anyone that you would like to put the public challenge out that's like, yeah, I can totally beat you in fake betting?
Yeah, I can. Well, listen, if it's fake, then I can beat anybody.
Okay. Just anybody?
Yeah, anybody.
Okay.
We'll put. What's the guy that wrote the book that included all the stuff about Phil Mickelson and gotten in trouble? Him, whatever that Bucky Waters, is that his name? Bucky Walters? Sure. I'm a better fake better than Bucky Walters.
Okay. All right.
I think that's his name.
Bucky Walters, we're not talking about William Henry Walters, was the baseball pitcher, third baseman.
No. It's either Bucky Waters or Bucky Walters. Yeah, he was a notorious sports bettor that Phil got in trouble and there was insider trading and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm better than him at fake betting. Absolutely.
I can run a business better than Enron.
Yeah.
I will say you should definitely trademark SCFTB before it's being pulled behind a small plane over the stadium next year.
Yeah.
Well, my father-in-law is a patent attorney, so we're in good shape.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here,
Trey, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Guys, give him a follow at WingoZ on Twitter and then at Trey.Wingo on Instagram. And check out all the great work he's doing at DraftKings Network with Pregame Power Up. Trey, dude, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
You got it, guys. It was awesome. Thanks.
Big shout out to Trey. Dude, so much fun.
Dude, he's awesome.
Good Jaws reference behind him on his backdrop.
Yeah. And there were many times where I had to like kind of pinch myself and be like, oh, cool, I'm talking to Trey Wingo here. Like that was definitely I geeked out a little bit during that one, to be honest. Full disclosure. Okay, please don't. Bucky Buchanan was the name he was thinking of. The guy who got in trouble with the
Winter
betting.
Soldier.
Right. What are the odds we get Bucky Buchanan on the Winter Soldier? Jeez. What are the chances we get Bucky Buchanan on this podcast?
I'd say 40-60. You know what?
Do you
let's throw a bet on it?
Let's ask
Bucky
him what the odds
Buchanan
are, I
is
guess.
on here in a Kelly Green jersey.
All the bets flip.
All
of the bets flip.
Let's drop money and get out of here so everyone can get to watching football. I'm gonna put $200 on people over animals. I'm gonna put $100 on no double-digit comeback or double-digit win. I think the Chiefs are gonna win by 9. I'm going to put $100 on yes, the Eagles fan. I'm gonna put 150 on Derrick Henry over, 150 on no hiring of a head coach with the Creed flip, and then $300 on all of your Exes outscoring Texans.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be 2-1. I think it's going to be 4-3. Give me 2 A.J. Brown touchdowns since he's sad. Last time he was sad, he had a huge game.
That is true. I should have made a bet about whether or not AJ Brown busts out a book, and if so, it does.
I hope he busts out the last book he was reading, Cliff Notes, if he's having a good name, a good game.
That would be great comedy.
It'd be even like Chad Ochocinco be like, that's solid.
That's good. Yeah. That book that AJ was reading shot up to the #1 bestsellers list. So I feel like that would be a great bet.
Yeah, I think that's proof that you only have to sell 16 books to be #1 on the top sellers.
I think there are only about 5 or 6 Barnes and Nobles left in the country.
Yeah. I have just a Nobles.
Yeah, right. It'd be funny, like Trump ran about, like building the wall and stuff. It would be funnier if Trump ran and was like, we're going to bring back the borders. Right. And people think he's talking
about... We're going to secure our borders in uptown Chicago by the Green Mill. We're going to secure it and we're going to open it back up.
And here he's just talking about the bookstores, and everyone thinks he's talking about Mexico.
Open borders. We're gonna close down
Um,
borders and open up borders.
all right, I'm going with. I'm going to put $200 on animals. Um, there's a lot of firepower in those animals teams. I'm
Yeah,
going to put a hundred. Oh, go on.
the Lions could be 31-9.
That's the thing. And really, it's mainly the Lions is like what I'm basing this off of, but then also the Ravens and I don't know, and Eagles too. Like any of those teams could pop off at any moment. I'm going $100 on no Eagles fan going viral. I think Eagles fans are going to behave themselves this week after that one guy basically lost his job. It just is. Yeah. And you know what's funny is like the more they're exposed, I think the more pride Eagles fans take in it, which is like
Yeah.
fine, I guess. But like, it's just I don't know. It's just funny that it doesn't ever slow down. However, I do think it will slow down this week. So I'm putting $100 on the no. Chiefs Texans. I say no. There will not be a double-digit comeback or win. Although now that I say that out loud, it's like I do think the Chiefs will win by double digits. But I'm going to say no for 150. Excuse me, no 100.
You know, I'm gonna switch mine to yes, just so we
Or
have
no, no,
some.
no, sorry. 150 on both those bets on the Eagles fans and Chiefs Texans.
All right.
150 on both those. And then I'm going Derrick Henry. I'm going to go $100 on the under. I've seen a lot of Derrick Henry playoff games in my day. And like I told Trey, he either goes over 150 or under 60.
Yeah.
So I'm going I think this is a game against the Bills in the cold. I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah, no, that sounds ripe for long passes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I could see him having 85 and Lamar having 65 and it just being that kind of game.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson both tied for the number of touchdown passes they have in their most recent playoff game in M&T Bank Stadium.
Yeah, it's a broad stat.
Well, actually, no, no, wait, no. Last week's game was in M&T Bank, wasn't it? It was in
Yeah.
Baltimore. So never mind. That stat is no longer true. But the AFC Championship game last year, and then
Just say
the
at one
divisional
point
round a
Derrick
couple years
Henry
ago.
threw a touchdown pass. Like,
Well, but also Lamar only had one in his last game
yeah,
there, so it's
yeah,
like like
yeah,
MVP, in the AFC Championship game really was
yeah.
not the MVP. Although he did have that one that was like knocked out at the goal line, so I guess that should have been his second touchdown pass.
Titans great L'Jarius Sneed knocked that out.
Yeah. Hey, people forget mainly because he's a Titan and because he was injured for just about the entire season.
Yeah.
Can you take me higher? I'm going to say no. $150 on the head coach getting hired by the end of Sunday's game. Creed Humphrey, you better not let me down. And then finally, $250 on the Exes. Look, as a Titans fan, I know being hurt more than anything else. And so I am ready to be hurt this weekend by all of my Exes. I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those guys scored a touchdown this week.
What are you gonna lock in?
Oh, I forgot to throw out the caveat for that bet, but it's too late
It's
now
too
because
late
Trey
now.
already left us. But I was going to throw out the caveat if Marcus Mariota scores
Right.
at any point in that
Right.
game, the entire bet is flipped because people
But
forget.
what if he throws a pass to himself?
Now that oh my gosh, that was the only time I've been happy as a Titans fan in the last 17 years.
What are you locking in?
I am going to lock in the head coaching hire.
I think I'm gonna lock in the double-digit Chiefs win. I could see them being down 10-0 and losing and winning 27-17. So I could see both those things happening. The Chiefs are just down 10-0 when second quarters start.
Yeah, right. That's the Chiefs spot other teams 10 points just before they get going. It's kind of like what Trey was saying about Derrick Henry being Fred Flintstone. That's just the Chiefs game plan every week.
Yeah. There's that clip of before they blocked the Broncos kick this year where someone's like bummed out on the sidelines and McCole Hardman's like, I don't know, we could be good. I've been here long enough. I see this stuff, and then they block the kick, and he's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just weird shit. We just win games in
Yeah.
weird fucking ways, dude. I'm not.
It's like you're like simulating a game on Madden.
Yeah,
Like it's
maybe
like
it was
I
like
don't know,
Hopkins' first game or something, and he was
Yeah.
like bummed out on the sidelines, and McColl's like, "No, dude, wait, it's not over until literally it is completely over."
And even then, you never know. Like I
One
could
time
see
we were
them like,
down
coming back
with 13 seconds left, and we won that game 20 minutes later.
Do you remember there was a game one time when we were growing up that the teams went back into the locker room and they had to pull the teams back onto the field to finish the game? I forget.
I don't remember.
It was like over like an extra point or something that they pulled them out, and there were literally guys in their towels coming back out to the sidelines
just to stand there for like the end of the game to happen.
Yeah, just to for
That's
the end of the
incredible.
game to
Yeah.
finish, and they had to like run like one play, and then it was like, okay, now it's an official game. I gotta look that thing up, and if I can, then
Yeah, we'll look it up on our own time and then figure it out. Everybody have a good divisional weekend.
Yes.
Good best
Even
of luck on your bets.
yeah, even if your teams are not in it and have no sight of ever being in it in the future. Follow Kyle on Twitter and Instagram at Kyle Ayers, at Kyle Ayers Things on TikTok. You can follow me at Austin Huff. But most importantly, follow Korked Bats at Korked spelled it's Korked spelled with a K at Korked Bats, KORKEDBATS, for all of the leaderboards, for the weekly output for this dumb podcast, and just other fun sports comedy. We just trying to have fun.
Hop on TikTok, guys. It's a rising star in the social media game.
Yeah, if you have like 3 days left, so hop on now. Make sure you do it ASAP. And then like Blue Sky, I don't know. We'll get to all of those eventually. MySpace. Justin Timberlake needs to buy back MySpace from himself and try and make it into more of a thing.
This is gonna ruin the tour.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. Good luck on your bets. Love you.